you insist that a Christian's right to believe is subordinate to all other rights, then it's not a right.
You are out of order. I charge you with contempt.
I accept the charge.
Oh, good Lord, miracles from heaven. I am sorry. I apologize. At least you didn't go as over the top as this movie did. I mean, good Lord. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. We are starting off April on what I hope is a joke, but sadly is not, because the big new releases are not that good, and the one good new release is a film that was only released in a select number of theaters, which we'll get to at the end here. But let's go and get right to it, and let's take a look at the first film we have here, and that is, of course, the sequel to this unexpected hit, God's Not Dead. God's Not Dead 2, or as it's called in some places, God's Not Dead 2. He's surely alive, and that trailer kind of gives you an indication on everything that is wrong with this movie, but, follows a high school teacher, played by Melissa Joan Hart, who's facing a court case that could end her career. After having answered a student's seemingly innocent, innocuous question about Jesus, the film presents an evangelical perspective on the separation of church and state. So, kind of a battle we've kind of seen done before and in real life with the idea of, science over facts, that type of thing here. And the film clearly is trying to be like the Christian equivalent of Inherit the Wind, but my God, man. I mean, that's just a glimpse of this movie in general, because you can just see the hammy over-the-topness from really good people. I mean, Ernie Hudson, man. I love Ernie Hudson, but good Lord, man. He's really pushing it here. You got Haley Orenata from the Goldbergs in here, Jesse Metcalf, Melissa Joan Hart. Then again, you got Sadie Robinson from Duck Dynasty in here, so that's probably not an indication that maybe this movie isn't quite made for you if you don't like Duck Dynasty or these type of films in general, which like I've said before, I'm not one of those people that really gets into these movies per se. But looking at the trailer for this, I thought at first maybe it didn't look that bad. I mean, Melissa Joan Hart, I like her. I liked her for back when she did Clarissa Explains and all that. But yeah, I mean, she probably is. She and Jesse Metcalf are probably the least amount of people in this, and I'm worried about in terms of over hamming it up here, except for at the end there for Metcalf. But what was notable about this movie is that it was the last film for Fred Dalton Thompson, who actually died in November before this came out. You also have a cast that also includes Pat Boone, Fred Dalton Thompson, Ray Wise, Maria Canals Barrera, names you might be very familiar with overall. So, I mean, I guess to its credit, it doesn't look as bad as God's Not Dead was, which was simply kind of flat overall. This one has at least somewhat of a hook to it. But yeah, but the times when then there's those times where you got the people going like creating a literal song called "God's Not Dead, He's Surely Alive," like they thought that they were going to have the next big Christian rock sensation, which probably didn't happen. And then the over-the-top acting in the courtroom, it's just like, I mean, yeah, it looks like a film that really, really does not look like it worked. What I'm trying to say is that it really doesn't look like a film that's bad, but just feels incredibly hammy and over the top. A movie that feels like it has its heart in the right mind, but yeah, it feels like when they're trying to add these really bad stereotypical characters and villains in here, it's just like it just looks like a movie that has no idea what it's trying to do, and it's just basically putting a film together because the first movie was such an unexpected success. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't really say for certain. Who knows? Maybe it actually isn't all that bad. I don't know. I've never seen one of these movies and probably never will, so. But let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, a radically different movie than God's Not Dead 2, another parody movie, and you think maybe it's got to be better than A Haunted House? Let's take a look with Meet the Blacks.
I'm a black man in Beverly Hills. This is it. Our new home. New beginnings.
We got money!
What are you worried about?
Worried about how you got it.
Let's enjoy this.
Welcome, neighbors. We are
The Smiths.
My name is Carl Black.
It's a little ironic that your name is Black.
Don't say it, bitch.
A little bit, but not with lines like that. I actually cut it off before the big record scratch twist turn when you realize that this is actually a parody of The Purge, because, as soon as that clip ended, you hear the sirens going off, and Mike Epps is just like, what's going on here? It's just like, oh, it's time for The Purge. Like, you have George Lopez showing up as, like, I think he's the president or something. Yeah, President Alabama. So, yeah, the humor may not be great here, but At least this one feels like it's at least trying more than A Haunted House did. A little bit, But the premise of this is that Mike Epps and his family are moving out of Chicago and have stolen a lot of money from a framed drug king named Keith Lowe, played by Charlie Murphy in his last role before he died of leukemia the following year. And believing that he will be in prison for the next 5 to 6 years. So he leaves the hustling lifestyle behind for something better. Carl, his wife Lorena, played by Zulay Hano from Fighting and also Illegal Tender. His new wife, I just said that, son Carl Jr. and daughter Allie Black, played by Brescia Webb, and cousin Cronut, played by Little Duval, pack up and move to the Beverly Hills. Turns out Carl could have not picked the worst time to move. They arrive right around the time of the annual purge, and all Carl's personal issues intertwine when all crime is legal for 12 hours. So to its credit, it at least looks like it's just focusing strictly parody-wise on the purge, but even with all that said, this movie really isn't that good in general. I mean, this is basically saying that, well, this is, An American Carol's at least better than Disaster Movie and Meet the Spartans. Still not a good movie. It's at least trying. Like, this movie is trying, but even then, it's not doing enough to make you laugh overall. And I'll give it credit where credit is due. There were some times when I did get a couple of chuckles out of this. There were times when I thought there were some legitimately funny moments in here, but they were very few and far between. Nowhere to the point where I would say that this is a movie that I would recommend checking out, but, I mean, it's at least, like I said, it's at least trying. And it doesn't feel like it's just phoning in all these really stupid parody, these like something like 50 Shades of Black was trying to do, or, as I said, the Haunted House movies, or what Scary Movie 6 is doing right now. But I will say this, though, this is directed by the same guy that would later give us one of the great Dennis Quaid meme faces in The Intruder, because that would be one of his next movies after this, and yeah, that movie's not great either, but man, that movie has one of the funniest Dennis Quaid meme faces you will ever see. We will get to that in 2019, but yeah. So I'm saying that it's better than 50 Shades of Black and A Haunted House, but then again, that's like me saying, I found this gold coin. Granted, I found it in the middle of a gigantic pile of dinosaur shit, but hey, it's a gold coin, and it's brand new. Doesn't make it a whole lot better, so yeah, like I said, not a great weekend for movies overall, but if you were lucky enough to have a limited theater in your area, you did get to see a movie that was actually really good. Richard Linklater's spiritual successor to Dazed and Confused, this is Everybody Wants Some.
Spring.
I love this time of year.
One comedy has what everybody wants.
Lesbians.
Having a tail.
Cereal.
And then some.
Welcome to college.
From writer-director Richard Linklater
I beg you to come to this party. It's also damn tribal.
comes the spiritual sequel to Dazed and Confused.
That's the pack mentality. All the adrenaline. Does that mean you're not going? I didn't say that.
Everybody wants some. Rated R.
So much like Dazed and Confused, which took place on the last day of school in 1976, this takes place in the fall of 1980, and it follows the lives of Texan college baseball players, some of them played by Blake Jenner, Glenn Powell, Ryan Guzman, Tyler Hoechlin, also featuring Wright Russell, Zoe Deutsch, names that have become very familiar nowadays, but yeah, so this is coming 23 years after Dazed and Confused, which, judging by that logic, we should probably get the spiritual successor to this from the 90s, probably in 2039. So we're about 13 years away from there, so that makes sense. But I overall enjoyed this movie. I don't think it's quite as good as some of Linklater's superior work. I mean, it's no Boyhood, and certainly no Dazed and Confused, but it is still a solid and really entertaining movie. And much like Stranger Things, which is coming out later on that summer, it's a movie that definitely benefits on its nostalgic love of the 1980s, and he also has a great assortment of well-written characters played by actors who have gone on to become very successful actors 10 years later. Like I said, Zoe Deutsch, Glenn Powell, Ryan Guzman, Wyatt Russell, Blake Jenner. These guys have gone on to become pretty good actors overall, and a movie like this shows you some of their early potential here, just like Dazed and Confused showed the early potential of actors like Matthew McConaughey and Mila Jovovich and Jason London. So, like I said, it has a lot of really solid bits of comedy. It's definitely not one of Richard Linklater's stronger movies in general, and especially coming off of the success of Boyhood, that movie that took him over 12 years to get made. Nevertheless, it is still a really, really good movie, and probably one of his better movies since Boyhood, honestly. I mean, he has not made a lot of great films since then. Last Black Flag wasn't all that strong, neither was Where'd You Go, Burn or Dead. But then again, he did stuff like Hitman and Blue Moon and Apollo 10.5. So maybe, it's like it was before. A lot of good movies, couple of movies that misfired overall. This one definitely did not misfire overall. It's a really good film. I really enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, nowhere near as good as Dazed and Confused, but still good enough for me to recommend it. Everybody wants some. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we'll take a look at 3 more movies, including Melissa McCarthy starring in The Boss. One of her lesser bad movies, but does that make it a good movie? Not exactly, but we'll touch on that more when we get to that tomorrow. But we'll also take a look at easily one of the best underrated movies of the year. I think it actually is one of my favorite movies of the year. Hardcore Henry, from the guy that would eventually direct Bob Odenkirk and Nobody. A movie that was kind of a revolutionary thing and sadly kind of went away almost immediately after it came out. And we also have Demolition starring Jake Gyllenhaal. So we'll take a look at those 3 movies. That'll be coming up tomorrow on the show. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.